Hello and welcome to BB True Crime. I'm Beth.
And I am Becky, and we are back, baby! Woo!
We are.
It's
Little
been
reunion.
so long.
Yep. I know.
Oh,
I know. You've
curse you for
actually
moving.
secretly missed this.
Secretly.
Yeah.
Secretly.
Anyway,
You and all your crack-headed stories.
I know, I do have quite a few, and this one today is also pretty wild.
Oh, yay!
It's like... It's a journey.
It's a journey, is it?
And sometimes you're like, I don't want to be on this journey.
Okay.
But it's British.
Oh,
And
of
quite
course
recent.
it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is, because let's be honest, if anything is crack-headed, it's going to be British.
Well, Americans are quite up there.
Americans are up there, but Britain is good for the weird factor.
Oh, God, yeah, no, there is that today.
Alright.
So we are on episode 26.
26?
Yeah, we're almost at 30.
Damn.
So we are doing today the case of Mick Philpott, or AKA, his nicknamed, in Britain anyway, is the England's worst father. Which is saying a lot because, you know, my dad is in England.
Oh.
So, look, if I don't bring...
there comes the trauma.
If I don't bring my own daddy issues...
Wow, it took you less than 2 minutes to bring your own trauma into this. Thank you.
Less than a minute and a half, actually. But you know what? Fuck it.
Alright.
We're gonna
So
get
besides
straight
your
in.
father, he is the worst father in Britain.
Yes.
Although he's more widely recognised as the worst father in
I
Britain.
have to say, compared to my father,
yeah, he's up there.
This guy is not great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, you give it to me. Give it to me.
All
Tell
right,
me.
So, we're gonna call him Mick, but his name is actually Michael Philpott. So
With a fucking surname like that, I'd be an awful human being as well. Jesus.
He takes it to a whole new level. I hate this guy with all the fibre of my being.
Wow.
He was born December 1956, but for some reason, no one knows the day.
Huh.
Good start.
He doesn't have a birthday.
So, the first two little bits I have are just like basics of what happened to who he is, and then we go properly into like the timeline.
Nice. Okay.
Right. So he is a British convicted killer who was found guilty in April 2013,
Oof.
so not too long ago, of causing the deaths of 6 of his children by arson.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
6
children.
children by arson.
6 of his own children.
Jesus Christ.
Philpott, he had made several media appearances as well, because he was known for his benefit-funded lifestyle, and his polyamorous relationships.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you he's quite a character.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, polyamorous. I'm happy for you.
So just another little general tidbit. Following an 8-week trial, him and his wife, I'm gonna mispronounce his wife's name, Married. It's spelled Mairead. Myriad.
We're just gonna call her Mary. Gonna call her Mary. Because
Yeah,
if someone
or
I
May.
knew had that
May.
name.
Let's just say May.
May. Got it.
Yeah,
May.
okay.
Her name's May for now.
Along with their friend Paul Mosley, were found guilty of the manslaughter of their 6 children.
Okay.
Philpott was given a life sentence
Excellent.
with a minimum term of 15 years imprisonment.
Only 15.
And
It's coming up on a parole then.
oh no, God help us all. His psychologist, a man called Glenn Wilson, actually described him as clinically being a psychopath.
He's clinically a psychopath. Wow.
And an exhibitionist with an antisocial personality disorder. So quite a mixture.
That is a hot pot right
Yeah.
there of issues.
Yeah. So Mick's attitude to women is known to be quite controlling, domineering, violent, manipulative. So, you know, stellar man.
Wow, this is we're hitting all those green flags here.
Yeah. So now we're taking a step to the past.
Oh God.
And now we're going into a timeline of who he meets, how he got where he is, what happened.
Oh God.
Okay. So his first girlfriend, let's say, is called Kim Hill. She was born June 1961 and was the youngest of 3.
Okay.
Her father was an army officer, and
Nice.
her mum works in the NAFI.
Okay.
The shops that are used by service personnel.
Oh, she works in the... Yeah, okay.
So in 1976, she's just 15.
Okay, red flag.
We can all see where this is going.
Red flag.
She meets a 19-year-old Mick Philpott. He's training to be in the army.
Oh, Jesus.
He comes across as kind of cocky, confident.
Psychopathic.
And then went on to harass her for 35 years.
Imagine making the mistake of meeting someone like him at the age of 15 and then getting harassed until you're 40.
Yep.
Wait, that's not right. I can't maths.
Like 15.
35 years at the age of 15 make a 50.
50, yeah.
Whoa, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's 2/3 over of our life.
So when they're together, so it's a very toxic relationship.
Oh, I don't think
obviously.
there's any other kind with a guy like him.
Yeah, no. So it's very like abusive. So he gives her like a curfew,
Oh, Jesus.
and then if she breaks it by even like a minute, she gets physically assaulted.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
He-
She's 15. Of course she's going to have a curfew.
Yeah.
She don't expect her boyfriend to give it to
Yeah,
her.
honestly. He would tell her not to tell her dad about the beatings.
Yeah, because let's be honest, if your army officer father found out you beating his daughter, he'd end you.
No, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Because and then he'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I did that. You know, it's fine."
Yeah.
And so she'd keep it quiet.
Proper abusive behaviour.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay.
Thing is, he wasn't even like trying to hide it. He was very public with it. So he would even beat her in public, and no one would say anything.
Jesus Christ.
Like there was this one time they were in a pub. And I think like he'd asked her to join him for a game of pool, and she had said no.
Big mistake.
Instant regret.
Huge.
So he smacked her in the face with a pool cue. I think he actually broke her nose, and everyone saw, and no one said anything.
Don't want to make the assumption that because it was an army pub, but it probably didn't help.
He's also broken her arm.
Nice. Okay.
He once took a hammer to her and smashed her kneecap with the hammer.
This is going well.
Yeah. He would accuse her of affairs constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And then beat her when she said no. Because, you know, she wasn't actually cheating on him.
Yeah, obviously.
So he'd go away sometimes for these army trips. But a lot of the time he'd then lie and say he was going on one of these trips. And he'd actually stalk her to see if she was cheating on him. And then even though he knew that she wasn't, because he'd seen it with his own eyes that she wasn't, he'd come back and beat her anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Almighty.
The school, her school actually also...
Her school?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's messed up.
Her school?
Yeah. So she'd come into
That
school...
was weird that she's like, oh, she's
No,
18
no,
now. No, she isn't.
Still 15. So she's going into school with all these horrific injuries.
Bruises, broken bones,
Yeah.
busted faces.
And school's like, what the fuck's going on? And she's like, oh, I'm just getting into fights with other girls.
Oh, yes, that explains
Yeah.
that.
So, they were together for like 6 years. She stayed with good old Mick. So, in July 1978, she's 21.
Okay. This is the lead to the breakup, I'm hoping.
Yes.
Oh, praise
So
Jesus.
she finally was like, I've had enough of this. And ends it.
He took her 1,200 days to do it.
She had to do it in a letter though, because she was scared to do it to his face.
I mean, to be fair, I would be scared to do it to his face.
He was not happy.
Okay. The hand gesticulations worry me.
Wow.
Okay.
So, oh sorry, they were together 2 years.
Not 6 years.
No. So
is she 17 at this point?
yeah, she'll be 17.
Okay.
He'd be 21. Yeah. So, in the previous, as well as like smashing her kneecaps with like hammers and stuff, he'd also shot her in the groin with a crossbow. That was pre-breakup. I know.
I just got uncomfortable.
Like, and do you want to know why?
She burnt his dinner.
No,
Why?
because he thought her dress was a little bit too short. So he just found a crossbow from somewhere.
What is it about any kind of groinal attacks that just makes everybody just be like, ow.
No, but do you want to know the reason for why he smashed her kneecaps with a hammer?
Tell me.
It's because she was babysitting her friend's baby, and he didn't like that. She was giving the baby more attention than she was to him.
Do you mean the helpless,
Yes.
tiny human?
Yeah. So he was like,
Wow.
time to say goodbye to your kneecaps. Yeah. Yeah.
We are exactly 10 minutes in and this is already a journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, she broke up with him. He's not happy. So he's like, time for her to die.
Oh my.
Obviously.
I'm presuming he doesn't succeed.
No, because obviously
Okay.
then he stalked
Yeah.
her for like 35
I'm
years.
gonna say.
So, he broke into her house after he saw her father leave.
Okay. Alright.
And her and her mum were in the house asleep. And he just attacked her. And he stabbed her over 12 times while she was laying in bed. Then her mum is awoken.
Obviously.
To the absolute chaos.
Yeah.
And the screaming of her daughter.
And the stabbings.
She comes in. She's like, oh my god, it's Mick. Tries to pull him off her daughter. So then he's like, well, time for you to die as well.
Jesus!
So he also stabbed her mum. Several times. Yeah. Just cause she tried to break up with them.
I mean, I think she succeeded in breaking up with him.
The girl suffered collapsed lungs, punctured bladder, punctured kidney and liver.
She was diced up like Swiss cheese then, basically.
Yeah, so was the mum.
Does the mother make it? I'm presuming they both make it.
Did, yeah.
Yeah.
He was convicted of attempted murder on her, and grievous bodily harm with the intent
To
against
kill.
the mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well. And he was only given 7 years in prison.
Again?
Yeah, 7.
Is this in the UK?
Yeah.
7 years for attempted murder and
But wait.
grievous bodily
hold
harm with
up.
intent.
So after he's done stabbing both the women, when the police get there,
Oh, Jesus.
he's just sat on the stairs, covered in blood, with the knife still in his hand, the bloody knife, and he's laughing, and he just says to the police, it's no good, she's a goner, I've done a good job on her.
Clearly he had no... I'm just sat here just imagining his smug little face and then finding out 1 week later that they both fucking survived. Like, imagine that being like sitting there and being so resolute that you're like, I've done a good job. I've already just fucking killed them. Yeah, but just the amount of certainty in that man's head.
Well, this is mixed.
And then 1 week later, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you didn't do that good a job because they're both still breathing. You're
They
dumb.
actually are alive. She did die twice on the way to the hospital. This is Kim, this 17-year-old girl. But yeah, she and her mum would both survive. Philpott was released after serving only 3 years and 2 months.
I knew you were going to say something dumb.
Yeah. But while he was in jail, he would write letters to Kim saying that you'll forgive me and we'll get married when I'm out of jail.
So sorry about that attempted murder thing.
Ignore the murder.
I lost my temper.
Yeah.
Soz.
So yeah.
I let my temper get the best of me. Ha ha ha. Lol. Smiley face.
Yeah. So Kim was forced to have a hysterectomy due to the stabbing.
Oh no.
Because of all the damage. And her mum eventually died from cancer. And the family believe that it's from the scarring that the stabbing caused. So they believe he caused the mum's death in the long run.
Sure.
So after that, you're like, okay, how much worse can it get?
I'm imagining there's a look on your face,
Phil.
Beth.
It's Mick. It's Mick.
There's just look on your face that tells me that this is going to get significantly worse before the end of the episode.
I hate him.
Okay.
So then he married a lady called Pamela, Lomax in 19...
Pamela?
Pamela.
Do you mean
In-
Pamela?
That's what I said. In 19...
You said Pamela.
Shut your face. In
Who is
1986.
Pamela?
So he had 3 children with her.
Oh God!
Two
Somebody
sons.
had children with this man.
Oh, so many people. He had 2 sons and a daughter. Pamela said that Mick was controlling, obviously.
I think we've already gathered that.
And that she would often pray, especially because obviously he was abusive to all of his partners, not just Kim. So she prayed that he would find someone else, so that he would leave her, and she didn't have to risk leaving him to be like him.
I can understand that, but I'm just
Yeah.
wondering what that prayer. Dear God, please let this man find somebody else to abuse so that I'm safe.
He did. A 14-year-old girl.
Oh jeez. I can't do this anymore.
Honestly.
Why are we only on the 3rd partner and we're still getting younger?
I know. So
He's got to be in his 30s by now.
he is.
Yeah.
So
Great.
her wish was fulfilled when he met Heather Kehoe, who was age 14 in Rainsworth, Nottinghamshire, and he was 37.
Oh my God, he's old enough to be her father.
On her 16th birthday.
I'm just saying, he was in prison when she was born.
Yeah, yes he was. She ran away. Heather ran away from her parents to live with him on her 16th birthday. She gave birth to 2 of his children, both boys, quite quickly after they moved in together at 16.
Okay, so they were clearly fucking at 15.
Yeah, probably.
They were clearly fucking at 40.
Yeah, probably. He obviously would then still beat her though.
Obviously.
And he said it's because he wanted a daughter. Pretty sure he already has.
I was
one
gonna
at
say,
this
then you
point,
have
but
one?
He's at 5 already. So Heather described Philpott as teaching his sons to be violent towards her as well, not just women in general.
Oh, that's nice. So he didn't just kill his own children, he psychologically traumatized them.
Yeah, so when he...
And then killed them.
So, oh no, I don't think he killed these ones. I'm
sorry.
Yeah, he has a lot of children, like my father. So he didn't just so when he would beat Heather,
He would
he'd
teach
get the
his
kids
sons to do it as well.
to join in. When he would verbally assault her, calling her a bitch or whatever, he'd get the kids to call their mom a bitch. That kind of shit. So great man. Very,
Just obviously because
inspiring.
this is a podcast and you can't see my face right now. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's this whole case. Mick wanted Heather to produce more children, but she didn't. So, shame.
My legs would be closed too.
Yep. So in 1991, he was given a 2-year conditional discharge for assaulting, including bodily harm, after headbutting a colleague. She
Jesus
managed
Christ.
to escape him, but without the kids, because she had to get out of the house.
Yeah.
But then she went through a custody battle with him and she won. So
Hey.
she got the kids back. He also harassed her for years as well.
Hopefully she managed to straighten those kids out.
I
After the
hope
damage
so.
that she did.
So
That
then-
he did to them.
The year 2000,
Okay, we're getting into the
yeah,
more recent shit now.
he met his current wife.
You see, the fact that she is current and stayed with him this long
I know.
scares the shit out of me.
The name I can't say.
May.
So
we're going to call her May. Yeah.
Yes. May Duffy, who was 19.
He's got to be in his 40s by now.
I reckon so. She was 19.
I mean, at
at
least
the
she's
time.
legal.
Well, and already a single mother, born in England to an Irish family, and she had previously just left an abusive relationship.
She went from one abusive relationship to another.
Literally. He likes, the sort of vulnerable
Yeah, he likes
people
those that just have
that he can
that weakness that he can control and exploit.
be nice at the beginning and then be nasty. So May moved into Mick's house soon after they got together. And they married in May 2003. In 2001, Mick met another woman while he's with May, called Lisa Willis.
Okay, so we've got May and Lisa.
Was 16.
Oh, God.
And an orphan.
Oh.
And a single mother.
Here we fucking go again, bruh. Yeah.
And she became his mistress.
Oh, great. Okay.
So Mick even then invited Lisa to come live in the house with him and May and the children. Yeah.
Okay, look, I don't know, like, there's I don't know where my brain's going with this. It doesn't feel like polyamory to me.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know at the beginning you said he was polyamorous.
Yeah, that's what the media call it.
I'm pretty sure, like, that's not consenting with the women.
Yeah, because the women, not only did they not get an opinion, they weren't allowed to do anything together.
Yeah.
Like, they had no romantic relationship or no sexual relationship. He just had the women.
Well, they wouldn't have to be polyamorous. If he's polyamorous and he's dating two women, they don't have to have, like, a romantic relationship. They can just be friends. And then he just divides his time between the two.
Which is kind of,
but for that to be a polyamorous, it has to be consensual from all parties. And clearly it's not with the women case.
They didn't.
So they're just being beaten into submission, basically.
Both, yeah.
Which is why I have an issue with people calling that kind of situation polyamorous, because it's not, because polyamorous relationships are all about consent from all parties.
Yeah.
And if you're not... Yeah, and everybody being equal no matter where you are in their relationship. If you're the common denominator, that doesn't make you more important. That just makes you an equal part to everybody else.
But Mick was top dog. So he was the decider.
Mick was an abuser.
Yes.
With multiple women.
Yes.
So...
So the little house that they moved into, their little council house, was only a little 3-bedroomed house. So it got very cramped very quickly.
I was going to say, I'm not surprised at all.
So Lisa ended up also, when him and May got married, she was the bridesmaid at their wedding. And she was pregnant with this kid. Yeah.
I shouldn't be laughing, but I'm just imagining him being like, to love, honour, to cherish, to remain faithful forever.
Weeks till
I die, whilst his pregnant mistress is standing behind her.
As the bridesmaid.
Side eye.
Except for you, Lisa, except for you.
Yeah, but I doubt that she was the only one.
God no, probably not. So in 2010, Mick was also given a police caution for slapping May and dragging her outside by her hair.
A caution?
Yeah, just caution.
That's called an assault.
Yeah, no. So, back in time, 2006. So this is when he starts getting media attention. He started being quite heavily criticised by the media because he had started to harass the council for a bigger house. Because they were popping out children left, right and centre, right? So, because by that point, his family in that 3-bedroom house consisted of his wife, May,
his mistress.
Yeah, so May is 25 at this point.
Okay.
Him, his mistress, Lisa, who is now 22. 4 children born to May.
Okay.
3 children born to Lisa. All his.
Yeah.
This isn't even counting the children before that.
Yeah.
And Lisa had a child who was conceived prior to them meeting. So how many people is that?
It's 11.
In a 3-bedroom house. Yeah.
Because that's 8, yeah. 4, 3, and then 1 from a previous would be 8, and then the 3 adults would be 11.
Yeah.
In a 3-bedroom house. Somebody's sleeping on the sofa.
So, obviously, like I said, they started getting more media attention after this. Because they kept getting denied for a bigger house. But Mick was like, I'm just going to keep popping out children. Not that he's popping out any children.
Yeah.
He's just doing
the fucking.
Yeah. So at this point, when the media is getting more involved, his conviction for his attack on the first lady.
Yeah.
I've forgotten her name. Something Hill.
Okay.
It was revealed. So after Lisa gave birth to her fourth child,
Which makes 12 in a
by
house.
Phil, yeah. It turns out that May was also pregnant at the same time, and they both were expecting their babies in March 2007. So before the babies were born, these ones, Mick actually appeared on an episode of the Jeremy Kyle Show. Yeah. To try and defend his lifestyle of, you know, the wife and the
being
mistress,
a psychopath,
and having all these children and wanting a bigger house and being on benefits but not working. There's no reason that he wasn't working, he just didn't want to.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, he went on to try and defend his lifestyle and stuff. He said on it that he would like to marry one woman and then divorce another, and that he would absolutely have a vasectomy.
Absolutely, he would not.
Yeah, exactly.
Lies.
He wouldn't. However, literally, if you think about it, the kids, it's very clear the kids don't mean anything to Mick.
No.
Except with, obviously, so with how benefits work, the more children you have, the more money they give you to look after these children.
Not that you're going to be doing any looking after.
But he wasn't, no. So all he wanted was more money. He made May and Lisa work full-time. But then when they got home,
they had to look after all the kids.
They had to look after all the kids in the house.
Mm-hmm.
They had to do the cooking, the cleaning, everything, and he didn't.
So he just.
And he would also take their money.
So he just
drank. Drank
and fucked his way through his day. No wonder he's got so many kids.
The family would roughly get about £60,000 a year in benefits alone.
Wow, so that's more money than most.
For Mick. Yeah, all for Mick.
And in benefits, and that's like, and then there's the two mums with the full-time jobs.
But like, as to how controlling he was, Lisa and May weren't even allowed a front door key to their own house.
They had to get let in by him.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, after that first media appearance, he actually appeared on another thing in 2007. He appeared on an episode of the ITV documentary series Anne Widdecombe. Yeah, versus it was like the benefit system.
People who just
Yeah. So that's where the Conservative MP, she spent a week getting to know Mick and that kind of thing, and trying to persuade him to change his lifestyle. However, he would often call her a bitch.
I just remember Anne Widdecombe from Strictly.
Yeah.
Because she was on Strictly when I was watching it, even though I used to watch it with my mum. I remember she got paired with Anton de Beck. Fun fact, Anton de Beck's real name is Anthony Beak, which just makes me laugh.
Oh my god.
Because he had to change it to be so fancy.
He really did.
And then it came out that his birth name was Anthony Beak. I was like, oof.
Like a bird.
Like a bird. Anyway, sidetrack. Off we go.
So she actually managed to find him in that little episode 3 jobs. Right. One of which was with a barrel making firm.
Cool.
He didn't turn up to work on the first day for any of them, and so all of the jobs fell through. So she got him work, but he was like, no.
I mean, to be fair, when you've got that lifestyle, why would you?
I am just having children. But not looking after them.
Yeah, but from his perspective, why would you?
He's
got 2 women who are bringing him full-time paychecks, and then he's got the government handing him £60,000 a year. Why would you work?
But also, right...
He's living the dream, according to him.
So, as well as having all these people squashed into this little 3-bedroom house, he had a caravan that he kept in his garden.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, maybe some of the children slept in that.
No, that's for him.
No. That was his little sex caravan.
Is that the way you went to do the fucking?
Yeah, so which his wife, May, and Lisa would alternate in spending nights with him. Having sex and getting pregnant in this little caravan outside. So instead of giving more room for his children, he just spent it.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Because by his brain, right? By his brain, he's got a room for himself and whichever woman he wants to fuck that night.
Mm.
Then the other one can split the other 3 rooms between whoever the fuck she wants. He doesn't care because he's not there.
Yeah.
And he's got his place to do his business. His nastiness.
Like, that's all he cares about.
Probably as well, is he didn't want to be in the house with that many kids because it's a fucking chaos.
Yeah, it is, yeah, and it was, like, a bit of a shit pit.
Yeah.
Like,
Lord knows, when my cousins were fucking noisy as hell when they were babies. And you put 11, it's going to be like 10 of them there now. 10 kids
yeah,
in
there
there,
was
roughly.
a lot, yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
So, Anne also said that Mick didn't care about anyone, and that he would also use the word bitch to refer to his wife and Lisa, the mistress, as well.
Of course.
Anne said she noticed that none of his children sought affection from him. And this is officially when in the media he was nicknamed Shameless Mick.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was actually revealed during Mick's manslaughter trial that May had become pregnant by another man when the couple would go out dogging in public areas. So that's why he was called a bit of an exhibitionist with May. And they had been doing dogging since 2011.
Wow.
Just so you know.
Wow.
He made her have an abortion. Because it wasn't his kid.
Wow.
So this is when it all starts going more downhill.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. That wasn't the downhill part already?
I told you this was chaos. Chaos.
Jesus Christ.
It's just a never-ending roller coaster. So, in 2012, February,
Okay.
Lisa had enough.
Oh, God.
Finally.
I mean, it took her how many years?
God, I've lost count. So she was like, right, fuck this.
I'm out.
She packed up whatever she could without noticing. She'd run with the kids. With her kids, though.
Her kids, not
May's.
May's.
No, just with hers.
Okay, I mean, priorities.
He was pissed.
Okay, well,
Understandable.
do we remember the breakup with no children?
Exactly. Because this means, with her taking her, 4 or 5 kids, how many she has now, they get less money.
Yeah.
And that
was
not good.
Yeah.
So Mick would obviously harass her. So he hatched a plan in order to try and get her kids back. At this point, he had at least 15 children.
In total, or just in that house?
I'm not sure, but people think it's probably a lot higher, his total, because...
No way was he faithful to who?
Yeah, no,
he
was famously known for having affairs and stuff, and so the likelihood of other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So, he's like, right, I need to find a way to get them kids off Lisa. So I'm going to make a plan.
Oh.
So on the 10th of May, 2012, Mick and May, put their 6 children to bed. So there are 6 children left in the house now. Because Lisa has took 4 or 5.
Yeah, so 5 of May's and then the one from the previous marriage.
So Lisa would have taken
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah, so there's 6 children that are May's and Mick's left in the house. So 10th of May, they put them to bed. So this is a little bit about the children.
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
When we get through our biographies, you know it's going badly.
So actually, when I first heard about this case, at the end of the documentary I watched, it dedicated the last bit to the children.
Oh,
6 children. And it showed you pictures of them all.
Oh God.
Their names, the ages, what kind of things they liked.
Oh Jesus.
I was
bawling.
I was absolutely sobbing.
Okay.
It really hurt. So the eldest was 13.
Okay.
Called Dwayne. He was the oldest, and he was known to be the protector of his siblings.
Understandable. The oldest and abusive father.
Then there was 10-year-old Jade. She was known to be the mother hen of all her younger brothers. And then there was a 9-year-old John, an 8-year-old Jack, 6-year-old Jesse, and the youngest Jaden was only 5. Yeah.
Here we go.
So they had been put to bed. Then Mick and May invite over their friend Paul Mosley. All three of them then started drinking really heavily. May gets stoned off her face. She then has a threesome with Mick and Mosley.
Okay.
As you do. On the snooker table. Let me add that. I forgot. Sorry, my bad. They had a threesome on the snooker table. There we go.
We need to be accurate when it comes to threesomes.
Sorry, that was my bad. Let you down. Sorry. It was on that table.
On the snooker table.
So, at 3 a.m, they start pouring petrol all over the floor of the house. Don't know how it goes from threesome to petrol. Not going to question it. Paul Mosley then removes the petrol containers so that there's no evidence, just out in sight. Half an hour later, 3:30 a.m, Mick sets the petrol alight. He starts the fire in the hallway at the bottom of the stairs so that the children have no way to escape. So then him and May just leave the house. And just watch the fire. So then they move into the neighbour's garden, and that's when they're like, right, now we have to freak out. So then May rings the police and the fire department and everyone, and Mick starts to tell the neighbours who have come out at this point, seeing the fire, that kind of stuff. And he starts shouting out to them all, oh my god, Lisa's done this. To try to get Lisa blamed for this so that he can get the children back from Lisa.
What the fuck?
I know. So this is his mind. So the neighbours are then like, oh my god. First of all,
Lisa?
what the fuck, Lisa, yeah. And also, what the fuck, the fire, the children.
Yeah.
So, one of their neighbours said that about the pair, that there was no emotion out of either of them as the fire blazed. They had a neighbour called Jamie, and he tried to get to the children, and he brought a ladder out and got it to the children's bedroom window, and he tried to get in, but that heat was so hot he couldn't get in.
Jesus Christ.
And it was just impossible. And then that's when they all realised that
they'd set the fire.
No, that there wasn't any way to get to the children with how badly the fire had spread and how bad the smoke was. There was no way to get to them in that bedroom.
You always bring me the cheerful cases, Beth.
You're welcome. So the children obviously were trapped inside, inhaling the poisonous fumes.
Of the burning fuel and the smoke and just...
So the autopsies later showed that the children's deaths were swift and appeared without pain. So it looks like they just died in the sleep from the smoke.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one good thing about smoke inhalation is it's quick and fast.
Yeah. So obviously Phil was made to go to the morgue to see his children. And so he randomly invited his mate along with him. A neighbour that he didn't really know very well.
Come with me to look at my dead children. Come.
And apparently, when they're seeing the children, Mick is just looking at his children and with no emotion.
Yeah.
The neighbour is breaking down, sobbing because he's seeing 6 dead children.
Yeah. Probably 6 dead children that he had seen before, if they're neighbours.
But he, nothing.
Jesus.
And the neighbour would Mick had to console the neighbour. They weren't his children.
Wow.
So, in the morgue, there was actually only 5 children. Because Dwayne, the eldest at 13, was still alive.
Okay.
On life support.
Okay. I'm guessing he died later, yeah.
By the way, when they took Dwayne to the hospital...
Did they go with him? Did they fuck?
They were kind of just like, do we have to come? Do we have to though? We've got things going on. Probably more threesomes on the snooker table. You know,
the snooker table's ashes.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right.
No, bro, they're going to his caravan.
The fucking caravan's still alright. Shit. You know, so and they had to be persuaded to come to the hospital for their life support child.
I can't even.
It gets worse.
Oh, shit.
I wish it didn't. So, despite, this life and death situation that, Dwayne's in,
Mm-hmm.
while they're at the hospital, Mick and May just
Don't.
wander off and
Oh.
leave him constantly, several times. And at one point, food is being served to all the patients at the hospital.
Don't do it! Don't say it!
And then they're like... So, obviously, there's a meal that's brought in for Dwayne, even though, he's on life support. And they're like, oh, well, he's not going to eat it, so can we? And then the hospital staff are like, no. It's made for the patients. And they're like, oh, well, make us something. No. So they get a takeaway ordered to the hospital. Because they're kicking off. Right? And then, so one of their neighbours, called Mick Russell, is also at the hospital with them. And he gets appalled when he sees so he says, to quote, and all of a sudden, I heard him shout, Mick, and I turned around and said, what? And Mick is grabbing this nurse's ass and saying, this is what I like. I said, you've got a lad in there dying, mate, and 5 of your kids are dead. Is that what you're still thinking about?
Yes! It's the answer to that question because he's groping the nurse.
His son is dying in that room.
Look at
that
Let's
thick,
move on.
juicy ass.
Let's move on from the dying son. Let's remember that he's got 5 kids already dead.
Oh, don't worry. He turned off the kid's life support 2 days later and Dwayne died.
Just so that you know, if you hear any crunches, I'm eating prawn crackers. Please don't judge me. It's takeaway night.
Look how loud that was on the fucking microphone. I'm so sorry.
Look, I'm sorry.
Let it go soggy in your mouth.
You told me I would eat prawn crackers quietly and then come at me.
Let it go soggy.
You eat a prawn cracker then.
No, I'm telling you about this dying kid.
Thank you.
He's died now.
Rip Dwayne.
Yeah, no. Honestly, Rip Dwayne though. So, the public were obviously appalled by the situation.
Obviously.
But they don't suspect them yet. Yeah. So they're like, oh my god, we have to try and help them. They've just lost 6 children. Sweet lord.
They don't see anything about this as such.
Like, a couple neighbours or friends have, they're like, that's a bit weird.
It's a bit suspicious, right?
But none of them are like, there's no concrete evidence yet.
There's no people trailing them going, you murdered your children!
No. So a fund, actually, to pay for all 6 children's funerals was raised by the public, and they raised over £15,000.
How much of that money went to burying those kids?
None.
Exactly.
Yeah, they spent it on shopping. The children's joint funeral did take place on the 22nd of June 2012 at St Mary's Church in Derby. Derby. And Mick and May didn't attend the funeral because at that point they'd already been reprimanded, in custody, charged with their murders. So, it wasn't until 14 months after the deaths of the children that they finally got headstones as well. So this is how the police were like, okay.
Tell me how they caught them, because I need to know this guy's in jail and rotting.
So, on the 14th of May,
okay,
the police stated that they had found petrol inside the letterbox of the Philpott residence, and then they were like, oh, murder.
Murder.
Witnesses also reported...
Je sais quoi? Murder.
Witnesses reported that Mick had also been behaving strangely for someone that had just lost 6 children.
They're only just figuring this out now?
Yeah. Or at least people are only coming forward to say that they're, noticing it. He also seemed to like the media attention.
Of course you did. He's the man who went on the Jeremy... Nobody goes on a Jeremy Kyle show who doesn't love media attention.
Well, true. But also, they did a little conference to the media not long after it happened. And you can just see...
They don't give no fucks.
Like, they're pretending to cry. But they're not crying. You can see that they're not crying. They're, like, dabbing at their face with tissues. It comes away still dry. They're like, he turns his face away. Just no tears. Nothing.
I love it.
So the police were like, right.
You be sus, bruh.
Let's be sneaky about it.
Oh.
So they bugged the hotel room that the Philpotts were staying in, because obviously the house had just burnt down.
They have a caravan.
Don't matter about the caravan. Don't know what happened to the caravan. Don't ask.
I mean, if they've got £15,000 at the Publix race, they're not going to be living in their caravan, are they?
And that's only for sex, alright?
Only, I'd be amazed if I had a fridge in it.
And they actually...
Confessed?
Kind of. So they overheard a conversation where they
Infer?
concluded as well that Paul Mosley was involved as well.
Oh.
But Mick had actually said to me, let's stick to the story. And the police were like, oh, hell no. Bring them in.
Yeah.
Also, Lisa did get questioned.
Okay.
But, there wasn't much strong evidence.
And she had an alibi, probably.
Yeah. So, the couple were charged with murder on the 30th of May 2012. They found a discarded petrol container and a glove near the house. And in November, the forensic investigators discovered the clothes of the Philpotts and of Paul Mosley had petrol on them as well. It said that the trio had started practicing setting the fire 6 weeks earlier. Mick and May had gone to bed with clothes on, ready to leave the house. And obviously the children had been in, pajamas. Paul Mosley had previously been arrested before, and was released on bail in June 2012. And it was around this time that the charges for May and Mick were reduced to manslaughter, because it was determined that, they set the fire.
To hurt them, but the intention necessarily hadn't been to kill them.
It wasn't even to hurt the children. The plan was for Mick to make this big rescue, save the children from this fire, and have it blamed on Lisa, and then he'd get the other kids back.
Okay.
But
they set the fire too strong and that didn't work.
Yeah, there was no way of saving the children, so it was reduced to manslaughter.
Should have got slapped with murder, if you ask me.
So on the 4th of April, Mick was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 15 years, like I said at the beginning. May and Paul Mosley were each sentenced to 17 years. May actually was released in 2012 on licence, after serving half of her sentence. However, during Mick's time in jail, you think it can't get any worse. It does.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I know. So after Mick's time in jail, during his time in jail, because he's still in jail,
okay,
numerous women started popping up, accusing him of rape.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Not excellent that it happened, but excellent he's being accused.
Yeah, and that's dating back to 1996. So yeah, and you know what? Probably happened.
1996.
That was the earliest dated. Yeah.
The year I was born.
But he also would write letters to friends when he was in jail, which, like I said, he still is, about that when he gets out of jail, he wants to rape his wife and Lisa on the graves of his children.
Words cannot begin to...
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. What a guy. What a
What
guy.
a specimen of a man that is.
Yeah. So I have some pictures of the 6 children that died.
Oh my god,
Look
they're
at the
adorable.
5-year-old.
That's
That
Dwayne.
was Dwayne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were the other children. The only girl. Look at that little face.
They're all adorable. That's not him.
That's Mick and May.
I mean, May looks like a fucking crackhead.
She does, and yet she was only like in her 20s still.
And I don't understand how anybody could be attracted to that.
That's Mick. But yeah, he is eligible for parole very soon. It's very unlikely, given what he did, that he will be let out.
Well, I fucking hope so.
However, May and Paul Mosley are now out of jail. So.
No comment.
Yeah, that was the wild case of Mick Philpott.
How long has it been since we've done an episode of recording?
A few months.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Do you have to come back with that much of a
strong
whopper? After you can ease me into it.
Look, I have been looking forward to doing this case since I first found out about it, and I was like,
"What? Just to see the look on my face as you tell me this shit?"
Yes, because it's insane, and when you think it can't get worse, it just does.
You're very good at doing. There's you know the saying, getting hit with a double whammy, right?
Have a double.
No.
Quadruple whammy.
You like to hit me with the triple, so you like to shock me, and then sucker punch me. And then kneecap me in the face when it comes to surprises. Because I'm like, okay, I've just been sucker punched. At least that's over with. And then another one, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Ka-chow wants to rape on his children's, graves,
Rape his wife and his mistress on his...
6 dead children's graves. Yeah. Yeah. What a guy. And, just freely admitting that in his letters. No remorse.
He's a psychopath, Beth. They don't have remorse.
Yeah, he is. He is that. And I hate his guts.
Ah, yeah.
And now you know why I hate his guts.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable.
So yeah, well, yeah. That's Mick.
I'm really hoping the next case is slightly less of a roller coaster than that. Not gonna lie to you.
It is.
It's a roller coaster.
No, it's like nothing will compare.
Slightly more calm
as that.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you are.
I think I need a minute.
But yeah.
I hope you, I wouldn't say enjoyed that, but I hope you found that interesting.
I hope that, we should all come together, form a petition that if Mick gets out, we all harass him and burn him in a house fire. I feel like that's
the attention.
But I don't think he'd like to be burned in a house fire because then he can't, control anyone, beat anyone anymore.
Just saying, I think we should do as we do in The Sims 4 and trap him in a pool and drown him.
Just lock him in the caravan. Just wait it out.
Yeah, it's true. Lock him in his sex caravan.
Yeah, if it's still a thing. If it's still up and standing. But yeah, that was episode 26.
What an episode it was.
I hate that man.
Yeah, episode 27 next.
Yeah.
As with all numbers.
And it is the Menendez brothers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Christ, Beth.
Yeah. So, if you enjoy our stuff, give us a listen. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment if you want a certain case doing it. We haven't done already.
Oh, let us know. We love requests.
Alright, so I've been Beth.
I have been Becky. Nothing's changed.
And we are BB True Crime. Thank you very much.
Signing off.